30, 2024, Fuad Shukr was assassinated in an Israeli airstrike in Harat Reik, a suburb of Beirut. Israel said that this targeted killing was revenge for the Majd al-Shams attack. This is when, on July 27, 2024, a rocket struck a soccer field in the Druze town of Majd al-Shams, killing 12 children and injuring many others. Israel attributed this attack to Hezbollah, which the militant group vehemently denied, declaring it had no involvement in the incident. Majd al-Shams is located in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and has a predominantly Druze population that largely identifies with Syria, rather than Israel. Following the rocket strike, Israeli officials quickly condemned Hezbollah, framing it as an act of aggression that warranted retaliation. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned that Hezbollah would pay a heavy price for this attack. However, the circumstances surrounding the attack indicate a false flag operation. Israel orchestrated or manipulated the situation to justify further military action against Hezbollah and to bolster domestic support amid ongoing conflicts. Israel targeted the Druze community, which has historically resisted Israeli occupation. The claim that the Majd al-Shams attack was a false flag operation is supported by several pieces of evidence and arguments. First, Hezbollah has categorically denied responsibility for the attack, asserting that it was targeting a nearby Israeli military base and that the strike on Majd al-Shams was likely due to an errant Israeli Iron Dome missile. This denial is significant given Hezbollah's history of acknowledging mistakes in similar situations, which gives credence to their denial. Second, while the Israeli military claims to have found fragments of an Iranian-made Falak rocket at the site, independent verification of these claims is lacking. Reports indicate that no ordnance debris was visible when journalists visited the scene, casting doubt on Israel's assertions. Without tangible evidence linking Hezbollah to the attack, Israel's narrative is entirely politically motivated. Third, experts have suggested that the rocket could have overshot its intended target, possibly due to mechanical failure or human error, especially given the proximity from which it was launched. This scenario aligns with Hezbollah's claim that they were not aiming for civilians. The nature of the damage at the site also appears inconsistent with a direct strike from a Falak rocket, especially given the crater size and fragment distribution. Fourth, Israel has benefited politically from framing the incident as an attack by Hezbollah. Given ongoing tensions and military actions in the region, a false flag operation has readily served as justification for a military operation against Lebanon. The first phase of which took place on July 30, 2024, when Israel carried out the targeted killing of a senior Hezbollah member, Fuad Shukr, by an airstrike, in Harat Reik, a suburb of Beirut, as already mentioned. Typically, this killing was characterized by Israeli officials as an intelligence-based elimination, targeting Shukr as he received a phone call that lured him to his apartment, just before the strike. Also, typical for Israel, this airstrike not only killed Shukr but also resulted in civilian casualties, including Iranian military personnel and local residents. Thus, Israel's brutal war against Lebanon needed the false operation at Majd al-Shams, and then the killing of Fuad Shukr. However, Hezbollah had a surprise for Israel, something it did not expect. They launched the Arba'in operation. This was a significant military operation conducted by Hezbollah against Israeli military positions. This operation unfolded in two phases, and involved a substantial use of rockets and drones. The name chosen for the operation is also significant. Arba'in, meaning 40 in Arabic, commemorates the 40th day after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein ibn Ali, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, during the Battle of Karbala in 680 AD. This event marks the end of a 40-day mourning period, that begins with Ashura, which is observed on the 10th day of Muharram, and is a significant day for Shia Muslims, as it memorializes Hussein's sacrifice against tyranny and injustice. The key here is this holy day's association with opposing tyranny and injustice, both perfectly embodied by the current regime in Israel. Hezbollah's operation was launched on this holy day, on August 25, 2024, and the target was the Glilot military base. As noted, Operation Arbaeen was conducted in 2 phases. Phase 1 involved launching approximately 340 Katyusha rockets at various military facilities in northern Israel, including the Glilot base and Ein Shemer air base. The objective was to overwhelm Israel's Iron Dome defense system, thereby facilitating the second phase of the operation. Phase 2. Following the initial barrage, Hezbollah deployed swarms of drones that successfully penetrated Israeli air defenses and struck key targets, including the headquarters of Unit 8200 at the Glilot base. The operation resulted in significant Israeli casualties, with reports suggesting that 22 Israeli personnel were killed and 74 injured during the strikes. The operation was a complete success, despite Israeli claims of having thwarted a significant portion of the attack through preemptive strikes. Following the operation, there was a notable media blackout from Israeli sources regarding the details of the attack, which were meant to hide the extent of damage and casualties sustained by Israeli forces. This was a major failure on the part of Israel. But why did Hezbollah target the Glilot base? The significance of targeting the Glilot base during Operation Arbaeen lies in its strategic importance as a key Israeli military intelligence facility. The Glilot base is home to Unit 8200, Israel's elite military intelligence unit, responsible for intelligence gathering, cyber operations, and surveillance across the region. This makes Glilot a critical node in Israel's military operations and intelligence infrastructure. Located approximately 110 kilometers from the Lebanese border, and a mere 1,500 meters from Tel Aviv, targeting Glilot sent a powerful message about Hezbollah's capability to strike deep within Israeli territory. This proximity to Israel's largest city amplified the psychological impact of the attack, challenging the perception of Israeli invulnerability. Hezbollah's attack also has raised questions about the effectiveness of Unit 8200, which is known for its expertise in signal intelligence and cyber warfare. Following the operation, Yossi Sariel, head of Unit 8200, announced his resignation, amid criticisms regarding the unit's failures to prevent the attack and its overall operational effectiveness. Sariel's resignation was interpreted as a direct consequence of the perceived intelligence failures related to both Hezbollah's operations and a broader security lapse during the October 7 attacks by Hamas. Given both of these massive failures, Unit 8200 had to respond in an appropriate way, in order to patch up its frayed reputation. And so, Unit 8200 had a surprise of its own for Hezbollah. On September 17 and 18, 2024, thousands of pagers used by Hezbollah members, as well as the general Lebanese public, exploded simultaneously across Lebanon, leading to at least 37 fatalities and injuring over 3,000 individuals. The explosions occurred as the devices were activated, reportedly linked to a coded message that triggered the detonations. The following day, additional explosions from walkie-talkies further compounded the tragedy. Unit 8200 is often compared to the U.S. National Security Agency and is known for its expertise in cyber warfare and intelligence gathering. The unit has been involved in various high-profile operations, including cyber attacks against Iran. In this case, it is reported that Unit 8200 played a crucial role in embedding explosives into the pagers, marking a significant escalation in Israel's electronic warfare tactics against its enemies. The CIA's involvement in the recent pager bombings is also evident. While the CIA has avoided being directly implicated in the operation, U.S. officials have acknowledged that Israel briefed them about the operation after it was executed. They emphasize that the U.S. had no prior knowledge or involvement in the planning of the attacks. Experts have noted that this operation showcases Israel's advanced capabilities in intelligence and covert operations, which may have been informed by shared intelligence with U.S. agencies. Then, Israel began the targeted killing of the top leadership of Hezbollah, including Hassan Nasrallah, on September 20, 2024. This was followed by Operation Northern Arrows, initiated by the Israel Defense Forces on September 23, 2024. This military operation, which is still continuing, officially targets Hezbollah's military infrastructure in Lebanon, with a focus on eliminating high-value targets and disrupting their operational capabilities. The targets include over 2,000 sites, which Israel claims were Hezbollah sites that housed weapons depots, rocket launchers, and intelligence facilities. These were struck across southern Lebanon and Beirut. As is typical of Israeli strikes, the operation has resulted in over 800 deaths and more than 5,000 injuries among Lebanese civilians and Hezbollah members. Of course, Israel kills civilians without any qualms whatsoever. That is part of its system of terror, to instill fear in its Arab neighbors, by carrying out cold-blooded brutality without relenting, no matter what the world might say. Thus, the current invasion of Lebanon appears to be the endpoint of a carefully planned operation, which began with a false flag in the Druze town of Majd al-Shams. The larger purpose of this ruthless flattening of southern Lebanon is not to defeat terrorism, or win some sort of safety for Israel. Rather, Israel has attacked Lebanon in order to dominate the region, so that there can never be any power greater than Israel. It is a cold-blooded demonstration that Israel can do whatever it wants, because it is the strongest, and no power can stop it. There can only be submission. To achieve this end, it is showing that it is ready to commit any war crime, carry out any false flag operation, commit any act of terror. This role of being the bully of the Middle East is guaranteed by the military might of the United States, which cannot abide in the Middle East as a hegemon, without Israel's whip hand. The Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. And by being the most powerful, and therefore greatly feared, Israel imagines that it will have a prosperous and happy future for itself. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty. And despair, states the famous poem. That which is built on blood and cruelty cannot endure. So, how much blood will Israel have to wade through, in order to arrive at this utopia?